Hello and welcome to Barbara's podcast. This is the show for women, all about health, nutrition, and wellness. It's the show that will empower you and inspire you to create a healthier lifestyle.
Hello and welcome. I'm Barbara Karafocus and I'm excited to introduce Femke, who is a holistic health coach and nutritionist specializing in female hormone health. Welcome, Femke.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Tell me a little about yourself, how you got interested in specializing in female health.
Yeah, so it's mostly from my own health struggles. But before I had struggles with hormones, I also had struggles with digestion and gut health. And that's where my interest in nutrition came. So I started to learn more about nutrition, holistic health. And then along the way, I got to learn more about hormone health. And then I was like, yep, this is definitely it. And also because I've been struggling myself with painful periods, PMS, mood swings, etc. So all symptoms of hormonal imbalances. So I just knew immediately that it was something I want to help other women with because I helped myself heal like in a holistic way and got rid of the symptoms. So yeah, I just found it so interesting. I feel like I could talk about hormones like endlessly.
Well, go ahead. How did you fix the bloating, the heavy periods, the painful cramps? How did you go about it?
Yeah, so I was already eating pretty well when I had those symptoms because most of my symptoms, I think I had like the painful periods already before, but I wasn't really aware that it was a bad thing because everyone had them and it was, yeah, I think we were all told that it was normal to have them. It's just part of being a woman. So they weren't that bad, but then I got the copper IUD and then they became worse. And I also had it removed after like 6 months because I was like, no, I'm not going to deal with this any longer. But I was already really focusing on eating healthy. So I did not switch up a lot about my diet, but I tried to eat more for my hormones. So through cycle syncing and also reducing stress levels, moving my body according to the phase of my cycle I was in because I used to work out so heavily, like 5 days a week, all month long, and I had no idea it was harming my hormones. So
Yes.
cycle syncing is definitely something that had helped me so much.
Could you tell us a little bit about the cycles and how a woman can work and be in tune with her cycle and how she can use it for her advantage?
Yeah, so your menstrual cycle, like the average menstrual cycle lasts 28 days, but anywhere between 25 to 35 days is completely normal. And then it's made up out of 4 phases. So the first phase is the menstrual phase, then you have the follicular phase, the ovulation, and then you have the luteal phase. So the menstrual phase is the phase where you're bleeding. So the first day of your bleed is also the first day of the new cycle. And
Yes.
during that phase, your body is releasing the lining of the uterus, so it's working really hard. So you do not want to add more stress on your body. You really want to slow down, take it easy. And you can also nurture your body with warming foods because each phase of the cycle could also link to each season. So, for example, the menstrual phase could be linked to the winter. So, during the winter, you also want to be cozy, lay on the couch under a blanket, eat things like soups and stews. So that's exactly what you want to do during the menstrual phase. And especially if you are a woman who's experiencing painful periods, yeah, I think you don't want to do anything else but just relax and give your body some rest. So then when your period ends and you go more towards your follicular phase, your hormones are starting to rise again because they are at its lowest during the menstrual phase. And
Yes.
then you can notice that your energy is starting to rise, you feel better, you start to feel more confident. So you really want to get out there more, you want to be active. This is also a really good phase to do some more intense workouts, but you want to make sure to add in fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut to really flush out excess estrogen, because if you don't do that, you can get estrogen dominance, and this can cause PMS later in your cycle.
Okay.
So this is just a really good time to say yes to social events, just be social. You're also most creative during this phase. So if you need to do something you have to be creative for, it's really best to plan it during your follicular phase. And then you go towards ovulation, which is where hormones reach their peak. And of course, your body releases the egg because ovulation takes place. And you feel really confident. You could feel really energized. So you want to do fun things during this phase as well. Maybe schedule date nights or go to networking events or public speaking events. And you could also hit it really hard during your workout. You could go for HIIT workouts, boot camps, and you could eat more cruciferous veggies like kale or cauliflower to also help the excess estrogen. And then after ovulation, the luteal phase starts. And I always like to think of this phase of two phases because it's about 2 weeks. So the first half of the luteal phase, you're still like running high on those hormones and you could still feel energized. But then towards the second half of the luteal phase, your hormones are starting to drop and progesterone is becoming the dominant hormone. So you should feel relaxed. But for most women, this is not the case because estrogen is still the dominant hormone, which shouldn't be during the luteal phase.
Yes.
So especially during the second half of the luteal phase, you want to slow down a bit, go for lighter workouts, maybe more towards yoga or Pilates. And this is also just a really good time to finish tasks, complete things off your to-do list, just organize, just get everything ready before your period starts, and to make sure your progesterone is being produced. You could eat foods that are high in vitamin C or foods that are high in vitamin B6. So this could be things like salmon, bananas, and also something that's really important because I think a lot of women experience cravings just before their period. And this is totally normal because your metabolism actually speeds up during the luteal phase. So you automatically burn more calories. And this might seem like a good thing because you could think, oh, I can lose weight easier. But that's not the case because you're also more prone to feeling stressed. So you really don't want to starve yourself. You should really aim to eat more calories during this phase to support your body. And this could also help with the cravings because it's literally your body screaming for more foods and more calories.
Yes.
And then after the luteal phase, you get back to day one, to the menstrual phase.
Back to winter.
Yes, back to winter. Yeah, because obviously it's like fall. So yeah, it makes so much sense to think of it like the seasons, like ovulation as your summer. It's so fun to think of it that way.
I think it's an excellent way that you've explained it. The 4 essentials for a balanced meal. That explain.
Yeah, so you want to make sure your meal has proteins, your meal has healthy fats, your meal has veggies, fruits, and also carbs and fiber, because you don't want to make sure your meal mostly exists out of carbs, because this is going to raise your blood sugar and you're going to end up in a blood sugar roller coaster. And that's something you really don't want. So you want to make sure your meal consists of 20 to 30 grams of protein, and then you add some healthy fats, you add a lot of vegetables. I always like to add like the biggest part of my meal to exist out of vegetables, because automatically you crowd out the carbs, and carbs are not bad at all. You need those carbs, so you don't want to crowd them out like fully. But you just want to make sure you also aim for complex carbohydrates because they contain fiber. So things like quinoa, whole wheat grains, but also just starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes. You really want to just mix it up and eat a variety of all of those.
Okay. Did you use any herbs to help you with hormone balance, like for example, yarrow or Agnus castus?
No, I actually did not, because like more after I balanced my hormones, I learned more about the herbs. So I wasn't really aware of them, but yeah, they could be really helpful.
I find that especially women, that go through the menopause, Agnes castus is a really nice one that to use, and maybe for the younger women, yarrow helps with PMS too, with kind of balancing the hormones. How important is gut health with regards to bloating when it comes to?
Oh, gut health is really, really important because if you have an unhealthy gut, you're gonna have a really hard time balancing your hormones. So you really want to make sure to heal your gut as well. The gut is also one of the things I start looking at when I work with women because so many women experience things like bloating and then the symptoms of hormonal imbalance. So you just know that you have to start with the gut because if things there aren't right, then you're going to have a hard time balancing the hormones.
Yes, absolutely. And is there anything else that you help to balance the hormones?
Yeah, so I always look at the whole picture. I do not just look at nutrition or gut health. I look at those aspects. They are really important, but I also look at movement, stress levels, sleep, because stress, especially stress, is so important because a lot of women who have like irregular periods or no period at all, it is just because they are so stressed. So their body does not feel safe to be in a reproductive state. So stress is a really, really important one. And then I also look at blood sugar and just other aspects in life, like even relationships you have in life. If you have a toxic relationship or whatever, it can cause so much stress. So it is really important to look at the whole picture.
Yeah, because you have the stress hormone, cortisol.
Yeah.
Which sort of increases your blood sugar and creates other things that we should look out for. So how do you work? What's, do you offer coaching and?
Yeah, I offer one-on-one coaching through my 3-month program. And
Yes.
then I always start by looking at where they are at the moment. So if I work with a woman who at the moment has specific symptoms and she isn't moving her body, she isn't eating healthy, we always start there and we start slowly. I am not gonna tell her to start with all of those at once because we do not want to go from 0 to 100. So it is really, really personalized. It always depends on where they are because I also work with some women and they already eat super healthy, but they still have those symptoms. And then we just quickly go over their nutrition because I still want to take a look at it and maybe we make some small adjustments. But if we're done, then we just move on to the next thing that could be important to her. So this could be movement or improving sleep, reducing stress. It's so personalized because there isn't such thing as one size fits all.
No, there definitely isn't. It definitely has to be personalized. I agree with you 100% that it can't be a copy paste solution for everyone because we're all unique. We're all different. So, well, if our audience would like to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, so I am mostly active on Instagram under the name @femshealth. I post some educational stuff there because I also think it's really important to educate women and not only tell them, oh, you should do this, you should do that, but always make sure they know why they have to do a certain thing. And then I also have a website, femshealth.com, where I also have some blog posts and some more information on my program.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming to the podcast. I think our audience got quite some valuable information to help them with their cycles. And it was lovely having you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Barbara's podcast. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter or e-courses. Celebrate life, and see you at the next episode.